Okay, hello, greetings and welcome. Now, let's do some revision on the basics of Quabbalah, where to start. Now, once you've gone through the evocational process and initiation process, you've got a deep sense of Akasha. Now, underlying any frequency, you have form on one side and Akasha on the other side. So if, let's say, we look at letter A, you've got the physical feeling of the air element, and then we introduce the color. We've got the body mechanics, and we've got the function. We've got the sound, the soft R sound. The sound we don't actually initially put too much attention onto pronouncing it, but more listening to it. So depending on which method you're using, you can produce the basic air element feeling, just mentally transfer into the idea, okay, air element stretch. And then once you have that air element feeling, you put the Akasha breathing into it. So you breathe into the Akasha, and then out of the Akasha, you produce the frequency. Relax into the Akasha, out of the Akasha, you produce the frequency. And you fluctuate between the Akashic side of the letter and the frequency of the letter itself. By doing this, the whole universe starts to feel like it's letter A. The infinity quality spreads your mind underneath the air principle, and you start getting sensory perception of, the whole universe is the letter A. And that's by blending the Akashic quality infinity and the letter you're working with in and out. Now, if you have the wrong idea of what that letter is, because you're just starting with a body mechanic and a concept air element from your Qigong and your previous training, by doing the Akasha and releasing into it, you're getting a pure, more fine-tuned aspect of the air element. So for a person practicing at home who is new to this type of stuff but has done the Qigong program, they've got a certain degree of Akashic skill, you can fine-tune and refine any energy you're working with by going into the Akasha of the energy you're working with and then tuning it in. Now, there's this idea that the spirit is a vibrational match to God. Should I say the essence of the spirit? And because we're tuning in through Akasha to the essence of our own spirit when we're doing these Kabbalistic frequencies, and these Kabbalistic frequencies is the language of creation, that means that inside the spirit, inside of Akasha, is a natural tuning mechanism to get your mind into the right place. For your mind to align to these creative frequencies, it's already there. It's within our own Akashic spiritual nature. So by relaxing and releasing your mind into it, it'll fine-tune and self-calibrate. If you've done a lot of the Akasha work and tuning into the essence of spirit through Akasha, you're essentially tuning your ability to get insight directly into Quabbalah through those other practices. So from step 8, 9, and 10 in the initiation process, you're developing those qualities of spiritual awareness, spiritual insight through Akasha to know that essence, that vibrational match to God. So there is a degree of surrender and prayer involved in that process to invoke it to the surface. Now, the next method we use is the same as evocation. We open the infinity, the evocation circle. We raise the energies up through the bodies. We connect to Akasha and the crown, stream Akasha through, strengthen the connection to the physical matrix in a magic circle, the infinity quality, our relationship to the universal mind, to the concept of God. We strengthen that will, the four divine qualities of spirit, in our magic circle. Then we connect to the sun sphere and we invoke the light of the sun. Now, what light are we talking about? We're talking about the non-dual light, the brotherhood of light within the sun, the non-dual nature, the spiritual hierarchy of the sun, and that consciousness, we invite it through prayer, through the three bodies to fill our circle. So the circle is our relationship to the universe, relationship to the empty space in the physical matrix, which connects us to environment. So it has an aspect of akasha and has an aspect of physicality to it. It's the most physical part of our being, and the way our physical body and the empty space underneath pressurizes to create form, and how that empty space is ultimately infinite. So it's the physical relationship to the infinite is where our magic circle is placed, and we condense the light of the suns inside of that circle. So it strengthens it and brings it in resonance with the sun sphere. Then we invite the Archangel Levim down through the crown into the spirit. So we bring him into the third eye. And Levim is the founder of Quabbalah. He is the founder of the creative language. He's an aspect of the universal mind of God which came into form for this creative knowledge and for creation to take place. So through prayer we invite that deity down into the pineal gland, and then we stream the light of the sun through that frequency, through that consciousness, and fill the magic circle. And then from there we go through each letter systematically. You invite the letter through Levim, he tunes it in your perception of spirit, your perception of the astral, and your perception of the physical, and you get a learning process. You're invoking and learning directly through the deity. As that deity passes these energies through you, and you're inviting them through prayer, you start getting a tuned sense of what is the sound, what is the feeling, what are the functionality, what energy is this, and how do you utilize it in your spiritual life for your benefit and the benefit of others, for the benefit of evolution of the group consciousness. So you go through one letter at a time systematically, and you get a familiarity with it. The letter H is very important because this has got the essence of the Quabbalah, and that frequency has a strong connection to Levim himself. So by bringing that frequency in, your understanding of all the other letters starts to amplify. So you really want to train the letter H very early in the piece. So this method through Levim gives you the Kabbalistic language of creation from the perspective of the sun sphere. Now they're not going to sound the same as Franz Baden's book. Franz Baden framed it for the German language, for that culture, that time period, and so forth. But they're very close. The sounds are much more in resonance with deep Tibetan throat singing, chanting, deep tones, and you get the flavor of the different letters coming through. And there are other letters, those aren't the only ones. But everything you need is there. Just tune in and develop it. Now, as you develop more skill with working with Levim and the other deities in the hierarchy that teach Quabbalah, you'll get very individual use cases from different beings. Your basic structure of Quabbalah, you work with Levim. He's the originator. And then you may work with beings from within the Venus or Mercury or Moon, and then use the Kabbalistic letters through them, and they'll give you very specific, highly valuable uses for each of those frequencies. And this is a basic way we train Quabbalah. Now, once you have that frequency, then you go back to tuning the akasha of the frequency and getting the universal mind experience. The whole universe is that frequency. And you train the method of bringing it in through the pores and filling the body, invoking it from the solar plexus out into the body, bringing it through the crown the way we mentioned before, and you train the different methods of interacting. Depending on your use case, this is which one is going to work best for you. I find ascension-based practices that come out of the Quabbalah are best worked through the crown chakra. Magical-based practices that are more functional in your path of service and more for the astral physical manifestation are best done through the pore breathing or the solar plexus method, depending on the situation. If you're breathing energy into a classroom, the pore breathing into the room pulls out energy in very easily. If you bring it from your solar plexus out, it goes through you into the room. I don't want energy to go through me and get filtered by me if I'm using it for teaching. I want it to be pulled directly from the universe into the space. If the teaching is an ascension-based teaching like Buddhism, I bring it through the roof of the building, I connect my crown chakra to it, I invite that light to move down into the room from the roof to the floor, and and accumulate that way, because the laws of rhythm say what comes down from the akasha through the mental, through the astral to the physical has a karmic return path to go from the physical to the astral to the mental, back up through akasha into the non-dual light realms. So if I want to generate an ascension based learning process within a student, I bring it from the top down, saturate it through the levels so that it builds inside the space. And when I give instructions for the person to do the 3 transformations up through akasha into light, there's an unconscious pathway which carries them through. So the student goes, I've got it, I can do this. I can release time through the 4 cycle of breath up into the astral, I can release space in the 2nd transformation in the mental, go through the infinity quality to open the crown and let the mind move up through akasha and through prayer into light. And the energy is going to carry the person whether they do it correctly or not. They'll get it even if they haven't got the basic training, because of the way you introduce light into the room. The counterpath is for it to go straight back up to where it came from, but the person's mind is now attached to it, and their experiential feeling, vitally, astrally, mentally, is there, and they will get that experience. So they can connect to, oh, that's akasha, that's light. Now, depending on their lifestyle, the nature of how they practice, all these other factors, is whether they can take ownership of that and keep it as a part of the normal consciousness and their daily spiritual work. They may come to the workshop, experience it. They don't have a lifestyle which will accommodate those experiences. They don't experience it again until the lifestyle shifts. But in their unconscious mind, they'll remember how to go back there when they're ready. So this is very important when you're teaching ascension-based teachings of how to create streams for the person's mind to get pulled into an ascension path. So the crown chakra method for Quabbalah is excellent for that. You need to train all 3 though, from in to out, out to in, and from the top down, because each one it's more optimized for a different application. You'll also find that if you are training Quabbalah for the benefit of others, those people that are going to benefit from your training get a deep astral spiritual connection. And because Quabbalah exists outside of time and space, as soon as you start dedicating the merit of your practice to those people who will benefit, your consciousness gets pulled into a larger space. Those astral networks released of time start forming, and you're automatically in a physical place of expanded consciousness and insight because of the dedication of merit for the practice to others. So when you train Quabbalah with this type of mindset, that you're doing it for the benefit of the group consciousness, for others to ascend, whether it's through teaching a particular line of knowledge, whatever it might be through healing or whatever path you've chosen, that if you dedicate that merit, you get an accelerated learning process in Quabbalah. The next thing to look at with Quabbalah is bringing it into functional use as quickly as possible. So you've learned to the letter A, you've tuned in the air element, you notice it generates an expanded state of consciousness, your relationship to your unconscious mind changes, like you're on the edge of the unconscious to pull information and organize it in your mind more easily, because that released open space, and your consciousness's relationship to thinking and the unconscious mind, when you're on that flux point with the letter A, when you read a book, your insight is very different to what you're reading to your normal intellectual mind. You have access to larger reservoirs of unconscious information, so you can reorganize that information through spirit and present a different story to how you previously would have read that book. So this has a huge benefit in relation to your daily life. If you like reading, you want to be able to extract maximum value out of that time. So now with letter A, you've got a way of using the letter A frequencies to improve the quality of your life immediately, not later, right now. The next aspect you want to look at is when you're practicing Quabbalah, there's a benefit that you can use that for others. So let's say if you have kids and you want your kids to get better grades, you will put that energy into all the food in the fridge and awaken the passion for learning, that desire for evolution, that desire for that neurogenesis hit when you figure something out, that explosion of consciousness that happens through deep learning. You put that energy into the refrigerator, all the food in the fridge is now charged with that depth of learning, and your kids eat that food. They'd rather be reading a book, studying, enjoying life from a perspective of growth, rather than wasting their time on video games. So this unconscious energy that you saturate into the physical food affects the way your kids think. So okay, there's another practical use case which is of benefit for others. So now you start getting all these letters like, how can I implement this in my life now? And how can I use these energies to benefit another person? Every single letter you start forming use cases of personal benefit and which that benefit extends to other people, or direct benefit for other people. So you have indirect and direct. And when you start using this understanding of the dedication of merit for the benefit of others, then you notice an amplification in your learning speed, that things become easier and more sensible because you're working in service to evolution of the group consciousness. And this is what Quabbalah is for. It's for the evolution of the physical world. It's for the evolution of culture. It's for the evolution of spirit. All these levels, it's for creation. And creation likes everything to evolve. And as soon as you start recognizing these laws of evolution, you can speed up your progress in Quabbalah just by framing your mind in resonance with this natural creative principle as you practice. Okay, so on our Quabbalah course, we'll cover all this type of information in detail. This is just to answer people's questions and give you some insight into what that training process is. Now, the Vimeo channel, it's actually for people who have done the workshops and who have thoroughly completed the initiation process. Anyone's welcome to subscribe to any of the channels, but if you haven't got that Akasha quality in 3 transformations well developed, you may not get the benefits that you are looking for from it. So jump into the Qi Kung and the initiation process first, and then evocation will build a nice framework for Quabbalah to make a lot of sense. Okay, thank you for your time, and see you on the next video.